Yo, 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 we're talking The Profit. Should you build for profit or contribution? Find out next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, AFTERBUZZers, to The Profit. I have to speak a little slower in time with the music.
It's the hands of time we're listening to.
It is.
Yes. Because our episode is all about time and watches. And
Well, this in good time. We'll talk about it in good time. But
time
tonight
to tell us who you are.
Yeah, we're looking at season 4, episode 4 of The Profit, Flex Watches, and we'll bring the music down to a simmer. And it had to rock first before we came in. But we're thrilled to be here with you. I'm Chris Howard. You can reach me, AfterBuzzers, at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. You can also reach out at legendarylivingdaily.com for tips, motivation, inspiration, entrepreneurial things to build a business fast, as well as legendarylivingtv.com for YouTube. And on my left is the one, the only, the beautiful
Katerina Cozias. I will take that compliment. Thank you. Hey, everyone. I'm Katerina Cozias, and you can catch up with me on Twitter and Instagram at Katerina Cozias. Now, I know you've been following us for a few weeks here, and my Twitter's been sort of Cozias Katerina, then Katerina Cozias. It has now been fixed. You can reach me across the board at Katerina Cozias, so make that mental note. You can also catch up with me on my website, which is called globalgab.com. That's global-gab.com. And I bring you up to speed with timely international headlines. So
timely.
There you go. I'm sticking with the theme tonight.
There's a theme of time tonight. We'll get to that. But what is happening?
Yes,
What's the news?
and so in the world, it is time for the summer to be over.
It's about time.
And September ushers in some of the biggest and best global events. So I'm just going to highlight that for our viewers and our audio ship right now. Cannes International Yachting Festival was this week. Over 500 mega yachts in Cannes.
Wow.
Followed by the Toronto Film Festival. Leonardo DiCaprio is up there. Scarlett Johansson is up there. It's the biggest international film festival after the Cannes one in May.
I had no idea all this was going on.
Yes, and of course, for anyone globally outside the U.S. right now, it would be global to them, New York Fashion Week.
Oh my God.
Yes, so summer's over, but event season kicks off, and of course, we've got the Emmys coming up.
Yes, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but
Yes.
it pays to be global. This is
Gotta
great.
go, gab with the global girl.
So you can profit from that knowledge. I love it. So that's fascinating. And we have such an amazing show in the spirit of all these celebrations and stuff that are going on. We get to celebrate the profit here tonight and celebrate the success of all the businesses that Marcus has been able to pour his intelligence and his experience into to help them build to greater levels. I'll tell you what, Katerina Cozias, and by the way, the thing I'd like to celebrate tonight is the fact that you've discovered who you are.
I'm so excited.
Katerina Cozias.
I'm back.
Yeah, she's back. It took her a while. She was a little disjointed. But not that the email addresses and stuff were a reflection of her personality. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is you're here.
I'm back.
Yes, she's back. We love you. But we had such a great episode tonight. I really loved it. What'd you think overall about this?
Episode.
Did you like it?
This was a great episode. Yes, I did. So companies started selling watches.
So company's called Flex Watches. Yeah. So we got this company that started for a philanthropic, they launched a for-profit entity with a philanthropic message.
They were a company with a mission.
And tell me, what do you think, Katerina, about having a for-profit company with a philanthropic message? Do you like it? Do you not?
I think it's great.
Do you?
I think it's great. To recap, for those that may not have watched it, we had this company start with the concept of having 10 watches in 10 different colors, representing 10 charities where they would give back 10% of the profit.
It was fantastic.
Fantastic idea.
Beautiful, beautiful concept, a simple concept. It wasn't really complex. And that's, they say that most people make things too complex. It takes a real genius to build something that's simple.
Right.
And, that was their fault. That's where they tripped later on in this model. But the model that I like, and this was kind of built after the pace setter of Tom's shoes. Yeah, that for every pair of shoe that was sold, a pair of shoe would be contributed to another,
To a cause.
or to a family, right, or to kids or somebody who needed them. Their cause in this case was that the mother, Karen, who was one of their inspirations. There's the two guys, Trevor and Travis, who launched this. Mother was the inspiration, and she was feeding children in need, and in Mexico, and so the money that was being raised from the watches was going out to them. I just want to talk a little bit about this concept of.
I think the world would be such a better place if more business was in the business of giving back to society.
Right.
I think that's massively missing in our consumerist society right now, and I think there's really nothing wrong with being able to make money, but also be supportive of your neighbor. I think it's great.
Right. Yeah. There was a book written called Philanthrocapitalism, and it was all about that. Actually, my second book I wrote, it's called Instant Wealth Will Wake Up Rich: The New Entrepreneurial Mind. And when I first put in the book proposal to Wiley & Sons, my publisher, they had envisioned the book, and this is kind of a direction I go, I should have gone in that direction, was the new entrepreneurial mind being that more and more people are moving toward philanthropic work. I actually did some charity work with Virgin Unite, and actually I went out to South Africa to do a charity event out there, and I spoke with the head of Virgin Telephones out there.
Yeah.
And I asked him, because all of the Virgin branding has now gone toward a philanthropic, and I'll to talk to the viewer here as well, a philanthropic direction. It used to be based around the antics of Richard, but now they promote philanthropy and giving back. And I said, does it have to be, is this really about the contribution, or is that just a marketing
What did
ploy?
they say?
And he said, why can't it be both? Why can't it be both? Why can't
and
it
Richard
make
Branson,
money and do good?
And I was going to say, Richard Branson is a master at marketing.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I genuinely believe, why can't it be both? And I think Richard Branson has probably reached a point in his career success where how much more money do you need?
How many pairs of shoes do you
it's
need to
time
wear?
Give something back. So I'm glad to hear that.
Well, yeah, so I like to see this. This thrills me when I get to see a model like this where people are doing good and making change by making change.
Right, and they made money. They made almost $1 million in their second year.
Absolutely.
Off of this concept.
So doing really well, and
Right.
then they had a turning point. And the turning point, talk to me, what do you think about the turning point that they came to where their profits began to nosedive?
You know what happened was they had a successful, profitable concept, and they had a retailer who had asked them to change the price point on the watch. The watch was
Right.
originally $35. They were making it for $5, so a nice profit margin for them. But the retailer said, can you make us something in the $100 range?
Right.
So without doing any market research, without doing any due diligence, without asking, building a larger focus group, they just nosedived into changing the design, changing the price point, with no thought behind that.
Right.
And boom, profits dropped 50%.
Yeah, dropped overnight. And the thing I'd say about these watches, and Marcus had pointed this out as well, that I like cheap watches. He said he likes cheaper watches too. My reasoning is probably the same as his. I bang my watch into things. I lose my watch. It's watches and sunglasses I suck with.
So you're going to give me your Rolex and you can wear the $35 one.
It didn't matter if I gave it to you or I kept it, because I'd lose it within a week. Whereas, a pair of sunglasses, I like to have a nice pair of sunglasses. I lose them equally as much as I lose a good watch. But the watch, a good watch is going to cost you a ton of money. So I like cheap watches. I found a watch in Venice, Italy, that was just a rubber band. It was a black rubber band with an insertable watch piece, just like we saw in this episode. Paid $10, and it was my favorite watch. I lost it right afterwards. I had to go back to Venice. I bought like 3 or 4 of those watches.
Before you left Italy?
Yes, I did. And then I loved them and wore them all the time until I lost all of those.
Wow.
But I'd much rather wear that. It was just a piece of rubber and it would look neat, and it reminded me of these watches. I like the simplicity of that. And I think they made a major mistake when we know now they did when they got away from, and the numbers reflected it, when they got away from the simple designs with the simple cause.
Didn't you think the original design reminded you a little bit of swatches? Remember the swatches back in the 80s?
Yeah.
Where you could flip out the color of the band.
I think
and
they
flip
still
out
have
the-
those. You might get sued for saying that.
Right. Well, this is true. Their Swatch is still around. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was just more exciting to me when I was 14.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, they were kind of like that, but then they had also this unique, their USP or their unique selling proposition was the fact that, yes, they're raising money for a charity. You buy this watch, you get, you are contributing directly to cancer or to
the environment, or to pets. I mean, they had a nice array of charities to choose from, because I
Right.
think there is something that speaks to somebody's heart.
Yeah.
Right.
There's something for everybody
Sure,
out
absolutely.
there. They broke away from it because they were requested to break away, and you get the temptation there. You've got the person who's making you the money says, we're not making enough money from this. We need something different. So it's hard to fault them for making that change, because it was really just a lack of knowledge
What I
more
didn't
than anything
understand,
else.
what struck me when I heard that part of the story was, why would they not keep the watch as is and just raise the price point? Because I didn't notice anything dramatically different
You
in
almost
the
masticated
design.
when you said that. That's chewing, right? I think. I hope that wasn't nasty.
Didn't taste as good the
Yeah.
second round as it did the first round. But no, they had the Generation 2 watches got a little bit uglier and a little bit more vanilla watchy.
Right.
And by Generation 3, they just looked like those cheap watches that you see in New York where the guy opens up his shirt.
Yes.
And his jacket has all the watches hanging. Like,
Yeah, and
just
you can
terrible.
buy one of these watches. Yeah, it looked
Right,
really tacky,
terrible.
gaudy, not good,
Right.
not
And by
something.
the third year, their profits had dropped even more.
Yeah, they were
plummeted.
throwing out the numbers so fast tonight that
Head was spinning.
Yeah, we started 15 minutes late here because we had to keep rewinding to watch that. What was that number? What was that number? What was that
Neither
number?
one of us had a watch on.
Neither of us had a watch on. We couldn't tell the time. But in 2012, they had close to $1 million gross revenue, 979,000. 2013 was the year that they started rebranding. They had 436,000 gross revenue, and they
50%
lost. They lost $200,000. 2014, they had 311,000 gross revenues. They lost $87,000. 2015, 279,000 gross revenue, negative $34K at the end of the year.
Ouch.
So they were on a serious downhill slide, nothing really working. And to top it off, they weren't taking any kind of significant salary. The two best friends who launched this business really weren't drawing anything significant from the business. So it's
Right,
like,
so-
what is this albatross that we've got?
And again, we've said it before, we'll say it again. If you're not making money in your business, why are you in business?
Right?
Right? Unless you've got a charity. And
Yeah,
this
no,
wasn't
exactly.
one. So you have to get up in the morning, you have to go to work, you have to make some money. Otherwise, what's the point?
What's the point?
Right.
Why? And so Marcus comes in to school them, and he does it. I have to say that this is probably one of my favorite episodes. I really loved it. I think Marcus is coming into his stride. I saw in this episode his bigger picture for the first time for me.
Which was what? What did you identify?
Well, just the collection of his portfolio of companies that all interact. And we've seen this on various episodes where he's bringing the design guy from one company in to do the design work at another company. And you have to begin to think, as he has this aggregation of various companies with various services that can all interact, that there's going to be a compiling or a compounding effect of the synergies between the companies.
Well, and he mentioned this at the beginning of the episode. He said, I have fashion brands, but I don't have any accessory brands. So it's coming down the pipe.
Right.
That when he gets this particular watch brand to where he wants it,
Exactly.
why not sell it in your own retail fashion
Exactly,
stores?
because
It makes so much sense.
Right, and why not own the building, and why
Right.
not? I'm thinking I should go and apply for his partner thing. Like
No.
I mean, this excites me what he's doing. He's got such brilliance, and he's got that brilliance with heart, which is what I like. What did you think of his silent salesperson idea?
Marcus decides that one of the missing factors is the lack of story being told. Again, originally, the company was successful because the story was, we have a charity, we're contributing money, we have a cause. That was lost in subsequent years, and so part of his point was, we can build a display case, a physical display case, where the product, watches in this case, are displayed, that tells the story so that the salesperson at the point of sale doesn't have to spend his time or effort telling the story.
Because here's the deal. You can imagine
Right.
how complex that story is, that you're buying a watch, 10% is going to charity. You get to, you buy a different color for a different charity, and it just becomes so complex.
And labor intensive. And if it's a busy store with a busy
Yeah.
flow, you're not going to get the story out. And if you don't get the story out, there's no passion behind the product and no one is buying it.
Right, you can't have a wrench in the works when you have got a single salesperson attempting to do things. So it's like you saw the need for it, but honestly, as he began to talk about it, I didn't know where he was going with it. I didn't know if it was going to be a vending machine, which isn't a bad idea too. I mean, I don't know what the vending machine
Sure.
would cost.
Sure. Yeah, you click,
Yeah, and you just have it spit out.
put a
the other
$100
side.
bill in there.
Exactly. Give me space and let me do my vending machine inside your place. I loved the in display that they came up with. It took us a little while to get to that in display unit, but where they went was beautiful.
And it makes a lot of sense to have a silent salesman display, because what you do is you build it one time.
Right.
It costs you one time, but you just keep fitting it with product, so it'll be a moneymaker on its own into forever.
What was the price point? $300 for the construction?
$300 to build the display. I mean, that's
Ridiculous.
nothing.
Yeah. Now,
Nothing.
just if you haven't watched the episode yet, and you should go and watch the episode, but the display ended up being like cubby boxes that had the name of the charity on each cubby box, and was very, very clear that when you were buying that color watch, you were supporting that charity.
Blue was the environment. Pink was breast cancer. Orange was, another charity. It was great.
But Katerina, it wasn't easy to come to this point where they were able to separate things out. And the big issue that was, the elephant in the room was that Karen had passed away, and Karen was Trevor's mother. And so there was this they were intertwined, the feeding of the children with the money that was raised. Trevor took a departure from that. He wanted to distance himself from that story so much. What do you think was going on in Trevor's mind and heart and spirit that caused him to run away from the original story?
He was very close to his mother. That was obvious. And I think for him, it was just too painful. It was too painful to rehash the death of his mother and the battle with breast cancer. Right. She did battle with it for 5 years, so I can't imagine that was an easy 5 years on their family. And when she passed away, I think he just wanted to cut that pain off completely.
Yeah.
But he did it to the detriment of the brand.
Yeah, and I don't think he recognized that he was doing such damage to the brand to that point.
Yeah.
It's like
because he just made it become a very generic, cheap-looking watch company.
Yeah.
And why does anyone want to buy a cheap-looking watch with no passion?
No passion, and there was so much to be gleaned from this episode in terms of how branding works inside the company, and how important the story and the narrative is inside a company, and that differentiator that separates you from the pack. I mean, watches are a dime a dozen.
Sure.
You can get them any place.
Yeah.
Right. The bringing that story back in, and what really struck me as being cool about this episode, and we've seen it in other episodes where Marcus is very therapeutic in his approach, and they were cueing the therapy music as he brings Trevor outside, and he's like, "What's really going on?" I found what did you find most impressive about those conversations that Marcus was having with Trevor?
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel Marcus is getting into his, he's in his stride now. He really is. He is so incredibly patient when he delves into the emotional issues with these people.
Right.
And he seems to know exactly what questions to ask, but allows the person time to answer it. He'll just stand back, ask a question, and just wait.
And there on that pregnant pause.
Right.
I'm going to leave it right there, because I think I agree with you 10,000%. He was asking the right questions. We do have something that I want to bring to everybody's attention here.
Take a bit of a break here.
Well, it's not even really a break. This is exciting.
Woo!
Dang it. In the history of television, it's never been so funny, dramatic, or so good. Think about the shows that are on this season. There's House of Cards, Modern Family, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones. What else? Now it says Blackish. I guess there's a Blackish. I thought it was Blacklist, but I guess there's both. So there's Blackish. I love that. I mean, there's so many of these things. It said, I love that show. And I almost read it like, I love that show. But
We
anyway,
love those shows.
seriously though, there are so many shows out there that are phenomenal that we can get caught up in. That's why we're
And
here.
we do here at AfterBuzz.
Yeah, that's why we're here talking about The Profit. We love it so much. Homeland, Better Call Saul, Veep, Transparent, Silicon Valley, Mr. Robot, Unbreaking, Kimmy Schmidt. Television, some of those I've heard of, some of them I haven't. But television's golden age is right now. This is a very exciting time in television, and that's why we need to bring this up. And oh gosh, it goes on. It talks about the Americans. Have you seen that?
I like the Americans. I like Kerry Russell. Yes.
I thought that would be good for you with
Yes.
Global Gab. Yeah, the
Yes.
Americans, Transparent, Master of None. On Sunday, September 18th, get ready, pick up your pen, write this down, put it in your calendar. Sunday, September 18th. Television's greatest night is the biggest live event of the year. Do you know what I'm talking about, Katerina?
We are talking the 2016.
You are way ahead of your time.
Emmys. The Emmys are on this Sunday, people.
That's right. You can watch the show that celebrates great television. This is the Emmy Awards. There's no better night to watch the best of the best face off, and it is a face off. They're going to be going. They're going to put up their dukes and duke it out. See if your favorite show wins. Plus, you can see what everyone's wearing on the red carpet. See, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, you're a fashion guy. Look how great you look in your paisley fashion shirt today.
I wouldn't have pinned myself that way, but I do love to watch the red carpet and the glamour and all of Hollywood. That's what I like about the
This is
Emmys.
TV's biggest night. This is going to be a big night.
Absolutely, and they prompted me to say this, but I'll tell you what, it was a great prompt because here's what you get.
What are you going to say?
You get to see who looks as hot off screen. Well, I guess you're still watching them on screen, but who looks as hot on the carpet as they do in the movies or TV. This is Emmys.
I think people are going to bring it, though, right?
Bring it.
They're going to bring it.
Right.
I think everyone's going to look great.
Check it out. Host is Jimmy Kimmel, who I love. I think he's amazing. So one of the funniest guys on television, Jimmy Kimmel, hosting the Emmys live Sunday, September 18th. This is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And you and I talked about this, like, why would they do it at 4 p.m.? It's an all-afternoon party. So Emmys party. Check it out Sunday, September 18th. Be there.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What are you going to wear?
You know, I'm going to make some profit in my business, and then I'm going to go buy a new dress, and then I may buy it from Marcus's store.
There you
I'm
go.
Excited.
It's that aggregation. Okay,
I
so
wonder if
time.
Marcus Lemonis is going to be at the
You know what?
Emmys.
He should be. He should be. I'll bet you anything he's going to be there.
I hope he is, because he is a man who is doing things with heart, and we love
right.
that.
What's that have to do with the Emmys?
Should be celebrated more often.
Okay, celebrate doing things with heart.
Yes.
Celebrate at the Emmys. Be there Sunday, September 18th, and we will be watching, and Marcus will be either there or watching as well. It's time to get back to our watch shop. And so we've got this, they broke away from the brand, and we were just talking about that kind of that therapeutic moment. And I'll tell you what I was thinking when this happened. I had such an appreciation for the meaning that was being built into the episode. And, you know, I've been in the field of transformation for 20 years, and I've worked with thousands of people all over the planet in seminars and helping them to overcome issues and stuff like that. And, you know, what I've found is at the basis of all challenges that people have is the meaning that they've associated to whatever's going on in their life. Of course, it was the book Man's Search for Meaning. You were probably familiar with that, yeah?
No, that one I'm not.
Viktor Frankl, who was
Okay.
a Holocaust survivor. And what Viktor Frankl said was that the people that emotionally survived the Holocaust were people that had a greater meaning attached or associated to their experience inside the concentration camps,
Wow.
for example. So if they were there and they decided that it meant that they had to overcome it, so that one day they could ensure that nothing like that would ever happen on the planet again, they then felt states of
Power,
determination
empowerment, yes.
and resolution to go and make something happen. But if they decided that the fact that they were there meant that life was meaningless, it was over, people were crap, they would literally die. That would be their end. Here, I see this as being a crisis of meaning, you know, where his mother passes away. He doesn't know what the meaning of that is, and he had been embattled. You used the word battled. He'd been in that for so long, he wanted to divorce himself from those feelings. So it's like, let's go someplace else. Let's go to California and beach and all these good. But he hadn't processed what was going there. But really what he hadn't done was transformed the meaning of that experience. And in carrying on the greater level mission of the mother, which was to make a difference, he was transforming the meaning to make it be something more empowering. Because some people, it's been said, and I was just talking about this on a conference call the other day, that your karma is your dharma.
Okay, explain.
Karma being what happens to you in life, what comes around goes around, that whole thought. But then dharma meaning your purpose. And so it's almost like it's the wound that hurts you that becomes your grander purpose.
Absolutely, I believe that.
And this is what he had to get. So there was an emotional resolution that was occurring inherent inside the episode and inherent in embracing rather than running from the problem. And so Marcus playing in that realm, I loved that. I thought that was fucking cool.
So powerful, Marcus. And we've talked about this before, not only is he a visionary when it comes to business, but he seems to also be a visionary when it comes to the potential that people have.
He really does. He brings it out.
Yeah.
He knows how to coach out the best in other people. Where did you see that most in this episode?
In today's episode, yeah. I think he really, when he took Trevor outside, and they had the one-on-one, because Marcus prompted him a few times in front of the other partners, hey, you've got to delve into this issue with your mom, and it sort of was going, Trevor was hearing it, but he wasn't listening.
Right. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Right. Marcus took him outside for a one-on-one, and
right.
he basically said, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think it was in that moment that Trevor sort of flipped the switch and said, he got emotional. You saw the tears in his eyes when he talked about his mom.
Right.
And Marcus said to him, you need to connect back to the story and show me that you can bring that story into the business.
See, that's what the brilliant part is, because it's been said that your business is a reflection of your consciousness, like everything else. It's it goes right back to Jungian psychology, that and you can't see anything that you're not. So if you're screwed up inside the head, where's the business going to be? It's a clusterfuck. Right?
Yeah, it's a reflection of, exactly.
It's a reflection of your consciousness. And he was literally running away from the business inside and outside.
And you saw that. I mean, the business lost almost $1 million in 4 years.
It was
because
and it was plummeting.
Of this, right. But I think to the testament of Trevor, he went back, he was tasked with making a video of this story, of his mom's story, so that they could put up on the new website. We'll get to that in a second.
Right.
But he brought the video he created was so powerful, so thoughtful. It told the story of his mom. I actually had tears in my eyes.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I did because I was very touched by it. You could see the mother's love for her son. You could see his love for her. And I think it's a story that everyone can relate to. Your mother may not have died of cancer or of anything else, knock on wood, but we all have a relationship with a parent.
Right, and it's also a universal archetyping consciousness. I'm feeling very Jungian tonight. It's a
I
universal
see that.
archetyping consciousness of someone passing on or something,
Right.
Or a transition, and not letting go.
Right. So I think Trevor grew through this experience, and I think it will benefit the business tremendously.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the magic, and that's the part that was magical for me, is that it's not just that he gets to transform his business. It's not just that he gets to make more profit, but he gets to transform his life inherent in building his business, making a profit, and contributing to the world in bigger ways. What more could you want?
How perfect.
That was actually my point in the book Instant Wealth, Wake Up Rich, was all about that the moment that you make that decision to give back through the contribution that you might make with your business, then you're profiting on from multiple perspectives. It's like a win for you, a win for people in the marketplace, and a greater win for society.
And you see this with people that have been successful in business. Oprah Winfrey, being an example.
Yeah, absolutely.
The minute she started sort of moving away from that Jerry Springer type television, which everyone started with back in the Donahue days, a little bit.
Donahue, and then what she hated.
She made the decision to be of value, use television to be of service, and she introduced Oprah's Book Club, and she introduced some of these other bigger ideas that benefited society, and you saw her wealth just explode.
She became the first African American woman to hit the Forbes billionaire list.
$3 billion net worth. I mean, come on.
Substantial. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There was another dynamic there because it was screwed up in his head.
In Trevor's, yeah.
Yeah, then it was expressing itself in screwed up ways where we're getting watches and stuff that are just gaudy and trashy and didn't represent the brand or the story. But out here, we've got this brand. There's no brand cohesion. And we've got Trevor and Travis in basically up in arms about what the brand really represents. So they had a branding meeting. What are your thoughts about their branding meeting?
The branding meeting.
Yeah.
Clearly, when the branding meeting was happening, these two men were not on the same page.
Yeah.
But I think they ended up bringing in a branding expert. This was sort of subsequent to the internal meeting that the men had. And they brought in a branding expert, and the branding expert basically said, the vision board you presented here with your ideas of what you want the company to be has no soul. You have a story. Why are you not telling it? And so again, to the point, branding, I think the other two, it was Brad and Travis, were really trying to get Trevor to understand that you have to tell the story.
Tell who you are. Yeah, it was
Right.
Oishi that they brought in, the branding company.
Oishi, the branding experts. Yeah.
But yeah, they were all over the place. But once again, a reflection of Trevor running away from the issues, and so we have dysfunction that's outside because of running away instead of embracing where it went. And what was fascinating for me about that, there were a couple of things. So number one, the vision boards, or mood boards, branding boards. Like I have all my clients, if I'm working with businesses, they always do branding boards or mood boards. Have you ever done those before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, because you were
They're
in marketing,
great.
weren't you?
I was in marketing, and I helped build a brand. I helped build Nisi Yachts.
Oh, yes.
Right, and our brand, we had a really interesting one. It was there's so many yacht companies, but ours was very experiential. It was casual opulence, and so we had vision boards with all of the brand images that we wanted, and it really helped us to cement the image of who we were.
What did you think about, and I get that, by the way, one of my brand, my mood boards was all around relaxed opulence, which is kind of interesting that, I didn't want to be gaudy opulence, but relaxed opulence was cool. What did you think about what the guy from Oishi had said about too many people using luxury or lifestyle type imagery, and it just becoming
it becomes a little bit irrelevant. These guys were trying to use beach imagery, California. There's so much California. Okay, great. It doesn't speak to anything.
Right. What was fascinating to me about that is because the branding should speak to some degree to the aspirations of the person that's there from my perspective, especially if you're in a transformation type field. What are their aspirations? But his point was that no, because everybody's doing that. It could be any type of company that's doing that. We need to get the authenticity in the brand. I think Marcus said that as well. Your authenticity. And damn it if they weren't right about that.
Yes, absolutely. And you saw that by the end of the episode when they really, the three partners had really taken the time to bring it all back home. And the product was unique again. It was creative. It was enticing. It was that display would draw me in.
Yeah.
I would walk into a store and spend a few minutes looking at that display. Absolutely.
And you'd probably buy the watch too.
I probably would, and I probably would buy two of them because I'd have a friend of mine who was into, Alzheimer's, and there's an Alzheimer's watch.
No doubt about it. I mean, that was they made some major changes, but I'll tell you what really stood out to me also in this episode. There were just so many pieces to it. Was when they brought in Russell from Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels is a relatively new database management system. There's.
Had you heard of it before?
Oh yeah, okay. But it's one of the newer ones, and it's got all the bells and whistles of database management systems. The Infusionsoft, Office Autopilot has changed to Entreport, and ClickFunnels right now are if you're a solopreneur or a small business, they're the ones that are really popular. So to see Russell Brunson, by the way, if you're watching this, Russell, I thought what you did was phenomenal, and we'd love to have you on the show. Let's get you on the show, and we can talk about this because what they were talking about was vertical product integration and your funnel.
Down, yes.
Yeah, so this is your vertical, and that's how all of my businesses have always worked. Have been on a vertical product integration concept where you have people that come in from the top and it funnels through, and then you get purchasers
to be able to
monetize
monetize your business. Absolutely.
Right, and there's higher price points with each purchase point, which is what Russell Brunson laid out. What did you think of the design that he laid out for their website?
I was blown away by that design. Probably one of the best website designs I have ever seen.
Absolutely. And you know what, Russell?
Reflective of the business.
Cheers to you, my man. Because it looked to me like a cross between, like it was like a social crowdfunding platform that, and so he captured the essence and the magic of the brand, and to show how much money had been raised for the charity
Oh,
underneath.
I got chills. I'm getting chills again right now.
It was
Genius.
yeah, it was
Genius.
really, really good.
Yes.
So kudos to you, my man, and to and thank God for the charities that you're going to support.
Yes.
It was amazing. And see, I've been waiting for this, because I do Shark Tank. I do the after show for Shark Tank as well. I'm on the panel.
Okay, yeah.
And Damon Johns is in, I know he's got a percentage ownership, or he's got something with Infusionsoft, which is the database software that I've used for quite some time. And I've used Entreport as well. Haven't used ClickFunnels. I have some of my clients that use ClickFunnels, but it does have all the bells and whistles that it would make, and so as a solopreneur, when you have or even as a small business, your database management software, customer relationship software should take the place of 10 employees, 20 employees.
Right. Yeah.
And it's $500 a month. That's nothing. I was happy to see it in this episode, happy to see them bring that in. And I would not be surprised if they find that 60 to 70% of their revenue shifts to being online driven from offline driven.
And you know what?
In fact, that's what I bet.
It's an online world now. I mean, you look at somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk. He has built his entire business online.
Yep.
And the internet is at our fingertips. You can sit in your pajamas in your basement and make money.
As we say, it's this interactive digital dawn.
Global.
And
media.
people are becoming stars in their basements in Toledo, Ohio.
But the other thing I like about The Profit is the fact that for anyone that is in business, small business owners, sole entrepreneurs, as you mentioned, there are so many companies that Marcus brings in, like you said, whether they're distribution companies or accounting software, or that really you should look into and do a little bit of research when you see it on this program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Marcus uses the best.
And what I thought was brilliant, and it struck me tonight, and I've noticed it before, but how lucky is he to be able to highlight these companies? They get to come on camera, they get to participate in the building of this, get the exposure, free exposure, and I doubt very seriously that they're being paid anything, but he gets the benefit of that, plus the aggregate compounding effect of all these companies he's bringing together. I am now getting very, very excited, Marcus, for your new show for The Partner as this comes up. In fact, I'm going to apply.
Oh, no, you should.
Oh, I want to, because I think it's fucking cool. I think he's going someplace really, really brilliant with this. And I think it's neat. And I had considered it before, but I thought, you know what? I don't know that I'd want to do something like that. But the man's got a vision, and he's a neat guy.
He's a great person.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So I love that. Any last thoughts on the show? Because we got about 4 minutes, 3 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. No last thoughts. I mean, again, it was one of those episodes for me that had heart.
Yeah.
It was young guys. These guys didn't even look like they were, into their 40s yet.
Right.
That really want to do something special, and I'm glad that Marcus came in. Marcus came in with an offer to pick up 40% of the business.
$400,000.
$400,000. But he's the one that's going to revitalize the whole thing for them, and he's certainly, I believe, put them on the right path.
It's neat. He's doing a good thing. I'm with you 100% on that. One thing I'll mention too for our viewers is that I had a conversation this afternoon with Kevin from last week's episode. Ooh. So last week's episode, if you remember, was the soup market. And there was the big debate between Grace and David. And if you haven't watched that episode, go and watch that episode. It was phenomenal, awesome, good drama. Yeah. And I talked to Kevin. He gave me some of the behind the scenes. And I'll give you just a little tidbit. It wasn't Dave who had thought of contacting The Profit. Oh. It was Kevin and guess.
Kevin and Grace.
Kevin and Grace thought of contacting The
Oh.
Profit, and then they brought David into the mix. So we're going to find out more. Kevin's going to call in next week. So next week, join us again. At this time, it's 8 o'clock Pacific if you to watch the live episode. Remember, you can also download the iTunes podcast And you can watch us after the fact as well, but join us live. We'd love to have you on here live with us next week, 8 o'clock, and we're going to get Kevin to call in.
That's so
and
great.
Stephanie's going to call in as well, his wife, who works also for the supermarket. So, hope you guys have enjoyed our episode here. Katerina, Cozias, let them know where they can find you.
All right. Thanks for being with us. You can gab with me anytime on Twitter at Katerina Cozias. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. And once again, I'm Chris Howard. You can reach me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. And go to legendarylivingdaily.com for daily tips, inspiration, motivation, entrepreneurial stuff, and legendarylivingtv.com for YouTube. On behalf of myself, Katerina, AfterBuzz TV, we wish you a lovely, lovely evening or day or wherever you're at. And we'll see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Take care.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.